9440. 4405. 944405.
Welcome, I'm John Garlick, and I'm here with Lieutenant Ronnie Murray, and this is Calhoun County's Most Wanted. Ronnie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm
Good to see you again.
I'm doing well. Good to see you. You know, your folks did pretty good over the holiday week. You know, let's take a look at the count. What did we get up there? So tell us what we got there, Ronnie.
We arrested Teresa Elderbrook, Courtney Rich, very familiar with Courtney, and Jarvis Leonard. Looks like we arrested 3 of them. Now we got, what, 4,836, 4,836?
4,836 people brought to justice because of
That's the community.
Yep.
That's the community out there helping us. We can't solve crimes without the community.
Nope.
So they're a big part of what we do. And Sheriff Wade really wants the community involved in what we do. We try to give back to the community as much as we can. You know, our job is to help people. Mm-hmm. Be it on the criminal side, the litter side, whatever we can do to help clean up the county. Our litter patrol is pretty big right now. If you got any roads in the county that you think need picked up, call us. Email Sheriff Wade. He'll be more than happy to send them out. So
that's a huge community service too. There's a lot of people just dumping trash on the side of the road.
And I don't understand it.
Yeah, I don't either. I see it on like that next door neighbor app that you have on your phone that you know says trash in front of my house.
Yeah, I don't understand people who litter, but it happens. So we do what we can to help pick it up and clean it up. So the sheriff is very big on cleaning the community up, both criminally and other ways as well.
Well, our guest today is another person big in the state of Alabama for taking care of disastrous things, and we'll be talking with him here in a minute. In the meantime, stay with us and look at the first half of our lineup here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
Scammers are now taking advantage of people's increased economic anxiety. One of the latest ploys is to phone unsuspecting victims and pose as representatives of utility companies. A scammer may identify themselves as your local power company. They may be able to identify your account number and even your name and address, but that does not mean they are legitimate. They may claim you are past due and your services are about to be shut off. Do not let the implied seriousness of this call frighten you into making a quick decision to pay. Instead, hang up the phone, then contact your local utility company directly using the phone number listed on your bill or on their website. Speak with a representative to check on your account. Never give your banking information over the phone unless you have placed the call yourself to a phone number that you know is correct. Utility companies do not demand your banking information by email or phone. They will not force you to pay over the phone as your only option. Any reputable company will never request payment by gift card, reloadable cash card, wiring money, or cryptocurrency. Some of the requested cards could be MoneyPack, Vanilla, Google, eBay, Amazon, or even an iTunes card. But you should know that there are still many more variety of cards the scammer could suggest that you use. If they ask for payment in any form of these cards, it is a scam. For more information, you can go to ftc.gov or call me, Nancy Hilton, at the Calhoun County Sheriff's Office at 256-236-6600.
Welcome to Calhoun County's Most Wanted. First up in our lineup this week, LaDarryl Shorter. Mr. Shorter, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted on a probation violation for burglary first. Take a look at William Hammett. Mr. Hammett, last known to be living in Wellington, he's wanted on a bond revocation for possession of a controlled substance. And this is Devin Lee. Mr. Lee, last known to be living in Bessemer, he's wanted for failure to appear on burglary third. And take a look at Kendrick Kirksey. Mr. Kirksey, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted on a writ of arrest for conspiracy to commit robbery first. And meet David Nasworthy. Mr. Nasworthy, last known to be living in Alexandria, he's wanted for failure to appear on theft of property fourth. And this is Jerome Howard. Mr. Howard, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted on probation violation for possession of a controlled substance. And take a look at Tanner Williams. Mr. Williams, last known to be living in Jacksonville, he's wanted for failure to appear on burglary third. And that's it for the first half of our lineup. Stay tuned for the second half later in the show. Welcome back. We hope you saw somebody in the lineup that you know or know where they are. And if you do, give the Sheriff's Office a call, 256-236-6600. Ask for Ronnie Murray. He'll take him down, take him in.
You call, we haul.
You call, they haul. We're here with Jonathan Gaddy, Deputy Director of the Alabama Emergency Management Agency. Jonathan, welcome.
Hey, it's great to be back.
Good to have you back. It's been a while.
It has. It's been quite a while.
So what's the big thing with the state EMA these days?
So one of the things we're looking at right now is National Preparedness Month. Just like you and I were talking a moment ago off camera, September is a time when we encourage folks to take a look at all of their personal preparedness, take a look at your plans, insurance, things like that. So we're really spreading that message and encouraging folks to be prepared this month.
So we're a big state. We can go from the mountains all the way down to the beach, so there's different emergencies that people could face. What's a good basic emergency kit, or what should every home have?
Yeah, so it really varies. You know, we all live our lives, I think, in kind of unique ways, and we live in different places where we maybe have different hazards that we need to be prepared about. I think here in Alabama, a lot of folks think about the weather first and foremost. Mm-hmm. Obviously, in most of the state, we have a threat of tornadoes, down south, hurricanes, although those can sometimes cause wind damage inland. But there are a lot of other things out there, you know, like the work that Ronnie and his guys do. It's important to think about just your personal safety and preparedness, not just from natural hazards, but, you know, crime and just good kind of common sense things.
So we have 67 counties and 67 county EMAs. So our listeners should feel comfortable if they just want to get more information about how to be prepared for September, you know, call their local EMA.
That's right. So every county in Alabama has an emergency management agency, and we're really fortunate to have some really progressive and well-trained EMAs here in the state. Many of them have a presence on social media, on Facebook, you can find them there, or on the internet. There's a website that you can also look at called ready.gov to get information that's just general stuff nationwide. There's a lot of really good stuff there.
Would the citizens be able to find information there on training that you guys host for you know, everyday citizens out there that's trying to develop a plan? Would there be information on the website also for that?
There are, and there are actually some tools and templates on there that can be downloaded. So there's, as one example, a communications checklist, right? So one of the things we've learned in a disaster, you may not always be able to get in touch with your family or your friends. So it's important to kind of have that process in place. Who do you call? Maybe somebody that's out of town. The phones could be down, maybe your cell phone's dead, this kind of stuff, to make sure that there's a designated location to check in, right? Very similar to like if you're working with a kid on fire safety, you train them on where's that tree in the yard or that designated meetup location. We have to think about those kind of things as adults also.
Well, that's interesting. And you know, there's the federal emergency management, FEMA. Everybody knows about FEMA. They make the news when the hurricanes hit. And then there's each state has a state EMA, and then under that is the county EMA. So it's a structure to help each community tap into the state level and then the federal level. Is that right?
That is, and a lot of times people think about our work when we talk about disaster response, right? It's also important to remember that these things happen in everybody's lives every day. So we try to focus on the individual part of that. Obviously, when there's a big tornado or a flood in a community, there's going to be a lot of work to be done. But it's important to also remember if you're calling 911, you're having a bad day. You know, these crises and catastrophes happen in people's lives all the time. We've got really great first responders here in the state and in this community in particular to help people deal with those things. But there are some things that happen that just really kind of overwhelm the community, and it's important not to lose sight of the individuals in that, and that's really where we try to focus, working especially with our faith-based, our church groups and our nonprofits, to make sure that when something really big happens, people can connect with those services.
And there's a lot of services, and after the response, the EMA has been very successful with coordinating critical incident teams or incident management teams with all of the local first responders and stuff. That's a very strong tool that the EMA has, and maybe one that the general community doesn't know about. You know, somebody coordinates all that response and cleanup.
Yeah, a couple of things on that. You know, every community is different. So like here in Northeast Alabama, we have particular threats and hazards, and the local EMA offices here have a long history of working with organizations like the one you mentioned there, which is focused more on the mental health side of things, which is very important. But that's also very unique all across the state. You know, there are different players involved. They're all trying to get to the same goal, which is to get things back to normal as quickly as possible and take care of folks during that process.
Well, so the EMA is a valuable tool for any community and obviously for the state. And I've been involved in several incident planning teams, incident management teams, and I know the Sheriff's Office
Absolutely.
is still active in that. Well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about the EMA, and we have the second half of the lineup. So stay with us here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. Welcome to the second half of our lineup. First up this half, Donald Sanders. Mr. Sanders, last known to be living in Pell City. He's wanted on probation violation for assault second. And this is Clay Coggins. Mr. Coggins, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for probation violation on burglary first. And have a look at Abu Bakar Dombia. Mr. Dombia, last known to be living in Anniston, wanted for probation violation on trafficking in stolen identities. And this is Jacob Bailey. Mr. Bailey, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for failure to appear on domestic violence second. And take a look at Brian Suggs. Mr. Suggs, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for probation violation on attempted assault first. And this is Wilbert Dodd. Mr. Dodd, last known to be living in Wellington, he's wanted on a failure to appear for domestic violence strangulation. And that's it for our lineup this week. If you have any information on the whereabouts of these folks, please give the Sheriff's Office a call or Crime Stoppers at 256-238-1414. Welcome back. We hope you saw somebody in that half of the lineup that you know or know where they are. And if you do, give the Sheriff's Office a call. You call, they haul. We are here with Jonathan Gaddy, Deputy Director of the Alabama Emergency Management Agency. And so you've been doing this for a long time. How many years? We won't age you.
Yeah, let's not do that. Quite a while.
Back before they had radios. No.
Not quite.
Long time. But over the course of your career, things have changed with emergency response. So talk a minute about what you've seen change.
Yeah, I think one of the things that stands out is, and this may be something that most folks would identify with, is the use of technology. You know, we really rely on technology, and I think law enforcement's a great example of that. You know, it's both a tool for fighting crime as well as a way to enable folks to commit crimes, unfortunately. So technology is a big piece of that, and we're very reliant on it. As I reflect back just personally, you know, I think one of the things that I've continually learned and really taken a lot away from is the individual impact that a disaster has, and that really speaks to the importance of the work that's done in our communities just on an ongoing kind of day-to-day basis, right? A lot of folks have a hard time. You know, life brings us all different challenges. Yeah. It's about the importance of community policing, I think, is a great example of that. Having strong networks there with our churches in our communities and civic organizations and stuff. A lot of folks in our society, despite the technology, are very disconnected, you know. And it's hard for them in a disaster when something happens, especially that affects a large number of people, to be able to reach out and connect to other folks that might want to help them. So as I look back, I think that's my big takeaway, is the importance of the work that all the organizations in our communities do just on an ongoing basis to try to build that community, right? Because that's building resilience and it's building quality of life, and those things enable us to get through the stuff that Mother Nature throws at us a little bit easier.
Well, that's interesting. So emergency management and your local EMAs have become a resource for first responders, but also citizens. And so you're the major resource center to help people respond and recover.
Yeah. As one example of that, an organization we work very closely with here in the state of Alabama is something called 211. 211 is a service that's provided by the United Way. So you can call 211 for free on your phone at any time, and they can connect you with what we call social services. So maybe you need a little bit of help paying your power bill that month, or you need a referral to some kind of a health clinic or something. They keep an index of all the different groups in your community, and it's organized basically by zip code around the state of different people that are willing to pitch in and help. We also use that same system in a disaster. because what we find is that a lot of times it isn't necessarily that somebody's home has been destroyed, although certainly that can be the case. But what they really need is just help putting the pieces of their life back together a little bit. And it's going to be always those local organizations that are most important to help them do that.
And so the EMA coordinates that at a local level. And what about at a state level? So what do you guys do down there in Calera?
Clanton.
Clanton.
Yeah.
Clanton. What do you do?
So-
It's way down there.
So we have lots of peaches in Clanton, obviously. We're famous there. So it's really interesting at the role at the state level, right? We're kind of the interface. So our job is to be more behind the scenes. Our first priority, of course, is helping our local EMA offices be successful. So we try to provide training and resources to help them do that. We also spend a lot of our time dealing with FEMA. So in Alabama, we've currently got 18 different federal disasters that we're managing, and that looks a lot like grant management. Some of these things take years. You know, we're still dealing with the effects of Katrina. We're still dealing with the effects of the 2011 tornadoes. And somebody might ask, well, how could that be, 10 and 15 years later? A lot of these things are projects that just take a long time to rebuild. And we try to help the communities access the federal funding to do that. So that's a big majority of the work that we do at the state level. It's very different from the work that the local communities do, which is more about outreach and education and kind of building that network.
And you were of course our director here in Calhoun County for many years, and I think we're helpful in getting JSUs. Don't they have a PhD now in emergency management?
Yeah, we've got a lot of resources here in Northeast Alabama that we're very proud of. Obviously, Jacksonville State University has a program that you can get an education in emergency management. They do have a doctoral degree there. You've also got the Homeland Security Training Center. Many people may not realize here at the former Fort McClellan, the Center for Domestic Preparedness is the only location in the United States where you can, as a first responder, go get trained with certain kinds of dangerous chemicals and things. So,
And a lot of that's free.
it is 100% free, right?
Yeah.
It's not free to the taxpayers,
Right.
But it is absolutely a benefit. A lot of our police, fire departments across the country are just strapped for resources. So this is a great program. These responders can fly in. Normally they'll get on a bus, come over from Atlanta and stay a week or so and get some world-class training here, and thousands of trainees come through this community every year.
I've been through it too. It's
It's an amazing
facility.
program,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And we've tied in incident management training there, and we've gone to the National Fire College in Emmitsburg. And so we've done lots of cool stuff here. And our local EMA it's probably one of the best in the state. No,
I would say
no
so.
small thanks to Jonathan and his leadership putting it up. And
Yeah, there's a great team in place here in Northeast Alabama. A lot of that comes from the roots of the chemical weapons out at Anniston Army Depot. But I just want to recognize, though, I think the key to the success is the involvement of the community leaders, people like Sheriff Wade and others here that have leaned in to make that EMA program successful, because it really is a partnership.
it's all about the community. Well, Jonathan, thank you for being on the show again, and we appreciate it. And stay tuned, folks. We've got the Crazy Criminal coming up and our Crime Stoppers segment of the show. So stay with us here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. And welcome to the Crime Stoppers portion of our show, where we ask you to put on your deer stalkers and help our investigators with the following cases. First up, on September 4th, 2021, an unknown person illegally entered a vehicle parked at a location on Wellington Road in Wellington. And on September 4th, a vehicle parked at the business on Highway 21 in Oxford was entered illegally. A white male was found inside and ran from the scene. If you have any information on these cases, please give Crime Stoppers a call at 256-238-1414.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
Ronnie, it's not crazy deputy time. We'll be talking about you. It's crazy criminal time. So what do you got for us?
I have two questions for you.
Two questions, I'm ready.
First question. Has anyone ever told you you have the perfect radio face?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah.
The second, if you were going to rob a jewelry store at knife point, what would be your getaway vehicle outside?
The fastest thing I could find.
So you wouldn't have your accomplice waiting for you outside with a wheelchair to get away?
No, that wouldn't be the necessary best plan.
So you would call that crazy?
I
a
might
crazy
call that
criminal?
crazy. Might call that crazy.
Well, in Texas, 2 people did it.
Really?
Absolutely. Female goes in to rob the jewelry store at knife point. Her accomplice, the male, is waiting outside. in a wheelchair to be a getaway driver.
It's probably a good cover. Jump in the wheelchair, put a blanket over you.
Well,
Like just walking down the street.
The only problem is they got tackled by a customer.
And so the guy pushing a wheelchair probably needs a wheelchair now.
Absolutely, he does.
That's
Absolutely.
crazy.
I mean, what are people thinking? I mean, Ferrari. I mean, something nice.
You probably have
a
lots of
bicycle's faster than a wheelchair.
Anything would be better than a wheelchair.
I don't think they thought it through very well.
One of those Walmart scooters would be
Yeah, probably. Segway, something.
something. Well, did that happen here in
That
California?
happened in Texas.
In Texas. Okay. Well, Texas folks are interesting people.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
Everything is bigger in Texas, including Ronnie. And so, Ronnie, thank you for that. It's sheriff. People need the sheriff's office. They need to call 236-6600. Ask for Ronnie Murray.
Ask for me. I'll help you any way I can.
And Ronnie runs the school resource officers, and what else are you in charge of? Patrol?
Criminal investigations.
Criminal investigations. So if you have an outstanding case, call Ronnie. If you've got a kid in school, in the county schools, call Ronnie. He's here to help. So
Absolutely.
we appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in this week. We hope to see you again next week, but not in the lineup here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.